Okay, we're live. And we're going to play the intro.
Hello, and welcome to Fermata Fashion. Presented by the Strings and Things channel. With special guest, Leah Brisky. Hosted by me, so-called legend, Rachel Sigmund.
Yeah, it's a royalty-free bop. That's what I call it.
I love it.
Hi everyone, welcome to Fermata Fashion. I'm Rachel Sigmund. I'm with my good friend Leah Brisky, and I'm so excited to have her here. I was just saying to her, she's one of the few people that I spent any in-person time with this year, because right before we all went into quarantine, she and I performed in Briscola the Magician together in Maryland, which is how I got to know this lovely woman. And before I get into the chit chat, I always need to detail how fancy my guests are. My guests are very fancy. So let me just tell you how fancy Leah is. This season, Miss Brisky joined Minnesota Opera's Resident Artist Program to sing the roles of Blümchen in Die Entführung aus dem Serail, Clorinda in La Cenerentola, and Mrs. Grady in Moravec's The Shining. I love The Shining. Is there like a scene with the bat on the stairs? That's one of my favorite movies. It's hypnotizing. A recent graduate of the prestigious Yale University in 2020, Miss Brisky made her debut with Bel Cantante's opera as Sylvestra in Briscola the Magician. With me. She also performed as a soloist with esteemed companies, including the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, the Lansing Symphony Orchestra. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Opera Grand Rapids Orchestra in New England, and New Haven Symphony Orchestra. Miss Brisky also had great success in the competition circuit, winning first place in both 2020 Grand Junction Symphony Guild's Young Artist Competition and the Dorothy Lincoln Smith Competition DC chapter, second place in Opera Ithaca's competition, district winner in the Metropolitan Opera Competition. Miss Brisky has been seen as a young artist with Central City Opera, Utah Festival Opera, and Charlottesville Opera. It's pretty fancy.
So fancy.
So fancy. I have fancy friends. You make me feel fancy. Yeah, we're having wine. It's a Thursday evening. Yeah, it's girls' night. Yes. So Leah is this amazing singer, amazing coloratura, but she also, with her twin, is this incredible Instagrammer, and she posts with her sister all the time, and it's crazy. I can't get my mind around how you have time to do this. You got me into getting on Instagram and doing my style blog, and I mean, I post like 3-4 times a week, and it is a second job.
It is crazy time consuming, yeah.
Yeah, and you and your sister don't even live in the same city.
That like poses a whole new challenge, but yeah, I mean, it's like the same amount of time you'd put in for your regular, 9-to-5 job, or as us performers, whatever hours anyone asks us to be there, we'll be there. You put in the same amount of time for that blog.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I just basically started. I'm nowhere near to like the production value of the 2 Scoops of Style production, but yeah, it's a lot. It's so much planning. But I see your posts pretty much every day, and they always bring a big old smile to my face, and thank you for that.
Well, that's our goal. That's our goal.
I had it pulled up on my face, on my stuff, but I had to restart my computer right before this. And
technology always seems to not work the moment we absolutely need it.
absolutely. But this is just an example of Leah and Sarah's Instagram. Look how happy. Look at all these beautiful colors. She just got married. Leah just got married. And yeah. And your sister also sings,
She does, yeah.
Which is incredible. I have these two students in my studio right now. Their names Preeti and Pari, and I teach both of them. And Pari was just like, my sister doesn't want to sing with me, and I was just like, if I had another Rachel, I would make them sing with me all the time.
It was pretty much not even an option. It was just like, we are going to sing together. You know,
Yeah,
singing at church, singing at school. We would just be like, well, yeah, we're definitely going to have to sing together.
Later, you're going to have to tell me like every single soprano duet ever, because I'm sure you have all of them.
That was always the struggle of who was gonna have to do like the alto mezzo part. It's like, well, I can do the high note better. No, I can do the high.
Aww, yeah. The two of them, they just both want to. They're both 10, and they're just like they both want to just sing the entirety of the Phantom of the Opera all the time. So they're very cute. So how have you been since quarantine began? The last time I saw you was our closing of Briscoe the Magician, and then we all
in March
went into quarantine in March. Yeah, our last performance was like March 15th.
Yeah, it was like right before really everything started closing down.
Yeah, we didn't know when, like, if the shows were going to happen, and then we were staying in donor housing, which we had to leave like in the middle of the night because they didn't want us infecting anyone. So it was very dramatic. But yeah, so how has it been since then?
Well, I mean, I think all of us experienced this like period of, as you know, when everything started closing down, of thinking, oh, this is just gonna last, you know, maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month tops. And so I think at first I was really, you know, happy to have some just like chill downtime, because I was supposed to go do another show in New Hampshire and then be going to Santa Fe in the summer to cover Queen of the Night. And so it was like, okay, well, I'm excited to have a little downtime before all that craziness happens. And then just the like stagnant time kept going and going. So it was definitely a progression of excited to have some free time finally, and then sort of being panicky, thinking this is too much free time. Like, I didn't know there was such a thing as too much free time, but there definitely is. Yeah, it's been an interesting period of time, because going from the performances to no performances to then planning to replanning a micro wedding. Yeah, I basically.
No, you got married.
Like, you know, since March, I think.
You want those people who had to like completely redo their wedding.
Yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
I replanned my wedding in 6 weeks, which really, you know, having the blog really helped make some of those connections to make that easier, that transition, and kind of making those like introductions. But yeah, it's been a crazy time, but I think it's definitely taught me to kind of be slightly spontaneous, and even if I don't be spontaneous, to be open to the possibility of my plan not working and having to maybe go through plan B, C, D, E, F before you find something that, you know, really actually is able to be followed up.
And now you're a young artist with Minnesota, one of the few of us that has singing work right now. So what's that like?
So the roles that you listed at the beginning of what I was joining them for this season, we're all super excited about. And then actually, so they have canceled all the shows for the season.
Oh no,
So we're not actually
great.
able to do any full-blown performances, which I completely understand given the circumstances, but still, a bummer and something that like all of us have looked forward to for sure. So it's been in a way, it's been a really great time of growth and self-evaluation and taking time to do the projects that normally are like, oh, I'll do that someday, like when I have a free summer or someday when I have like 2 months free. And so it's been a great chance to kind of like pick a couple projects or a couple roles to study and really dive into that. So my main goal has been to figure out bel canto singing and to really just like dive into that world, like be super picky, listen to some of the greats and figure out like how that's really applicable today and kind of immersing myself in that, which has been really, I think, one of the best things I've ever done.
Oh, I'm really excited to hear it. Do you have an example of what you're working on right now?
Yeah, I'm working on right now of covering the role of Amina in La Sonambula.
Mm.
Which is a role I've always wanted to do, but I've always been a little bit scared of not really like understanding the technique of bel canto, like enough that I could fake my way through it, but not enough to um, feel like an ownership over the role and that kind of style. And so today I had a coaching on her first aria, Care Compagne, and just after really immersing myself in her second one, Anon Junje, and then kind of taking the first one totally fresh, having never worked on it before, it felt so different than picking up a bel canto aria would have like a year ago. And so I've really loved the experience, and the coaches here are amazing to really hold me accountable to when I'm not doing something right and to let me know when I am doing something right.
I mean, people at home, I don't know if they understand how hard it is for us to learn stuff for ourselves, because we're usually learning stuff just to make that bank and to pay our bills.
And to work towards doing a show.
Yeah, and that's a big motivator for a lot of us. It's like, oh, my show's coming up, I need to learn this. But we don't have that right now, which is, it was hard in the beginning of 2020, I think, because I think we had to be daunted by how much time and how much uncertainty there was. But then in that, we kind of create our own plan and we think about, hey, what do we want to do? And I mean, I haven't taken as many coachings and voice lessons in like one period of time, like since college. Basically, it's been a really good time. I mean, sometimes I'm tired of being in quarantine, but I mean, I'm I don't want to make anyone sick. So, but
Right. I mean, it's definitely a time I think of, you know, I just listed off a ton of things that I'm feeling productive about, but there are just as many days that I go through where I feel like I'm not in a mental place to sing today because I do feel sad or I do feel, um, I feel down about the fact that our industry right now is taking such a hit.
mhm.
And sometimes I feel like being attacked a little bit because singing and music in general right now is being seen as like one of the biggest transmitters. Um, just because of that projection and air and all of that stuff, and it's easy to kind of fall into that rut. And I think it's okay to have those days where you don't feel productive. And I think anybody working from home right now, which is like a large majority of us, or even working, at your normal office, nothing is what our quote quote normal is that we've been used to and that we've educated ourselves to getting to and that we've practiced to get to. Um, and so we all have to just give ourselves the grace to like, some days aren't going to feel great. Some days are going to feel amazing. Some days we're going to feel like we're taking huge steps forward. Some days we're going to feel like we're taking steps back, and that's okay.
Yeah, that couldn't agree with you more. Like yesterday, I ended up having a really easy day of teaching, and then I just ended up playing video games all day. And I'm just trying not to feel guilty about it because the rest of the
That
week.
is so real. The guilt afterwards, and we're like, okay, you know what? We are working in a constant state of being at home and working, so we never have this separation from ourselves and our work. Some days you just need to play the video game. Some days you just need to watch the like 10th episode of Gossip Girl that you're binging currently on Netflix, or to have the second glass of wine. You know, it's just some days you work from 9 until 9. Some days you put in a little less hours, and that's okay.
And I think that's the hard thing about our industry, that as people who are our own boss, and when we're at home all the time, it's really hard to differentiate what is work time and what is relaxation time, because we also enjoy what we do as well. So how do you make that work with Instagram? Like, your output is insane.
Yeah, it's I think with our Instagram 2 Scoops of Style, it has definitely been a practice of trial and error and seeing what works best for us. It definitely helps that I have a twin sister and we can split the work, because I think, if it was just me, I think I would have had to hire somebody to help me, or maybe just quit at this point, because especially, I thinking like a year ago, it was getting to the point of I don't think we can to like streamline our work, because it is so easy, like you're saying, to work from sun up to sundown and then work, in your sleep too. So yeah, with the whole trial and error, you start with, okay, we started saying we're going to post once in the morning and once in the evening every day.
Oh my God. That's so much.
And about, to be honest, I think we did that for almost a year. And then it got to a point where I told Sarah, I was like, I think we just need to really like make one great picture we can post a day and just stick with that, because spreading ourselves too thin. And to be honest, what I've come to realize is it's better to put your energy into creating one thing you can be really proud of, as opposed to 2 things you're like 70% proud of.
Oh yeah, when I started, I was trying to do it every day, and just by myself. I don't even have a photographer. I have like a remote clicker,
a tripod, yeah,
a tripod and a clicker, and then I'm editing the pictures, and because I'm me, I'm writing like a novel underneath, and then I'm like hashtag, and then it got to the point where I was just like, this is super fun if it's the pressure is so high. And some days I'm just like, yeah, I can't do it today. But now I'm like on like a 3-4 day week schedule with it.
Yeah.
So I don't do it.
I mean, that is just perfect. It's putting out content that is quality and creating like a regularity about it. If you posted one time at the beginning of the week and then didn't post until, Saturday, and then you posted Sunday, Monday, and then not again, it's like there's no sort of consistency. Even if you're posting every other day, at least there is a sense of consistency, getting reintroduced to your audience, getting exposed that way, and the things that you're putting out there are quality.
Yeah. So what do you think you and Sarah's brand is? And was it hard to create your own individual sense of style, because there are 2 of you that look very similar?
I guess that comes with the territory of being twins. So with 2 Scoops of Style, we first started it basically as like a way to just be creative with each other. I was gone to Utah Festival Opera one summer, and that was really like the first time of me being out of state for a while. And so we're like, we'll do this as sort of like a way to be creative together and stay in touch. Not like we don't already call each other multiple times a day. And then from there, we kind of, you know, as you're putting your thoughts out there, it's sort of a way to, it's like a catharsis. You know, you post a picture and you say something about it because you have something to say. And I don't think at first we knew what it was that we wanted to say. But as we kept going, we came to this sort of idea that we wanted to empower women, and really anybody to, regardless of, you know, body type, shape, ethnicity, sexuality, whatever, to present yourself on the outside in the same sort of like vibrant, colorful way that we're also unique on the inside. And that's in, you know, for us, like we like to show that through finding like clothes that make us happy, that don't break the bank, that support good causes, that are colorful and unique. And that's just like a way of us showing our sort of personality on the outside. And I think our followers really like resonate with that, because I mean, I think that's like the point of, you know, accessories and clothing in the first place, is not just to keep yourself warm or to be modest, but to show like who you are to the people you encounter, and just even, you know, pass by on a daily basis, to like be an external showing of who you are. And so being a twin, we definitely growing up went through phases of like we're so similar naturally, that, you know, there was always a period of time where one of us would be like, I'm going to do something totally different. I remember a period where Sarah like wore basketball shorts for like 2 months, because she was trying to be like the sporty twin. And there was a day where I just sat her down. I was like, what are you doing? Like, you don't have to do something different just to do something different. Like, be yourself. And she was like, yeah, you're totally right. This isn't me. Like, I'm just trying to do something to separate myself, as like to distinguish myself from you, because it's so easy to be a twin and people think you're like clones, you're exactly the same person. But I think with the blog, even though we do have similar styles, it's easy because we are in different locations to then say, okay, like I'm gonna pick out these outfits that I want to showcase this month, and then Sarah picks out, you know, a couple too. Or that in our Instagram stories, I think it's a really good way to connect with our audience and to also show the individual side of our 2 scoops of style.
Yeah. So if you were a flavor of ice cream, which flavor of ice cream would you be, and which one would Sarah be? I just realized.
Cream lover?
I just realized we got Rachel, we got Leia, and we got Sarah.
I think I would be raspberry cheesecake ice cream.
That's very you. Very decadent.
I think Sarah would be salted caramel.
That was an ice cream.
Yeah, what would you be? I feel like you would be like Superman ice cream.
What is that?
It's like the rainbow. I mean, maybe it's just kind of looking at your rainbow shirt right now, but it's like that rainbow. It's like vibrant blue, yellow, and like sort of like a pinky red. It basically tastes like Blue Moon. That, or I could see like a black raspberry.
I probably would want something that's like very creamy. I don't know. I'm very like in terms of like perfume, and in terms of like food, I'm very sort of like chocolate and vanilla, like very sort of more cakey than fruity. I don't know. Important questions. I also wore this because it kind of reminded me of you guys.
Because of our like bright colors.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe like it's probably like a Ben and Jerry's ice cream with like a whole bunch of stuff in it.
Yeah, that's a whole other category though, of like if you were gonna be a Ben and Jerry's flavor.
What Ben and Jerry's flavor would you be?
I would be half baked.
Oh yeah.
That's like with the like cookie dough and brownies.
Oh, that sounds so good. I probably would be like
I
the
think we're
one.
hungry.
Yeah. I probably would be the one with like chips in it because I'm
Ooh,
weird.
yeah. Like midnight snack. I think that's what that one
The
is.
next snack, yeah. Or like I don't know, the Stephen Colbert, like
Rachel, you are a
American.
snack.
Oh, thank you. Me too. Americone Dream is a good
Ooh,
one
that's a good one
too.
too. Yeah.
Stephen Colbert one. But yeah, so did your parents dress you up similar as like children or?
Oh yeah. And to be honest, like it wasn't that they forced us to, but it was like we would go to the store, we would both like the same thing. And so our parents would just buy two of the same thing. You can hear the ambulance outside my place. But they would just buy two of the same thing because they tried just getting one, and then we would just fight over the same thing constantly. So they're like, okay, well, if you like the same thing, we just do the same thing. And then I specifically remember being in first grade and Sarah telling me that she wanted to grow out her bangs because we had like the very similar, like the same haircut.
I
And
think we
started
all had that haircut in the 90s.
Yep. And I started to cry because I was like, "You don't want to look like me anymore." And she was like, I just want to grow out my bangs." And that was like the first memory I have of one of us wanting to look different. But then we went to a private school, so we constantly wore uniforms. So it kind of like, I think it delayed the process of us, really like dressing or figuring out what our personality was in terms of style.
So how are you and Sarah different in terms of style?
I would say, Sarah tends towards a little bit more, and this could also be because of her. She's in a classroom every day. She's a choir teacher, so she has a little bit more of this like sort of like, um, conservative in like a professional way,
Yeah.
classy wear. So, but I would say she's a little more preppy. She likes like a bold pattern, and I kind of like. I'm also sort of preppy, but I kind of like a little bit more edgy things. Like I really like incorporating some of the like runway sort of trends of they're saying, oh, faux leather is going to be something really popular this season. I'll be like, okay, I'll find a way to like incorporate faux leather in a very like classy way.
Mhm.
Something that it shows that it's a little bit fresh, like pressing the lines a little bit, but still being like
With
classy.
your style and classic, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And anything with big earrings.
oh, if I'm wearing jewelry, I'm usually wearing a nice earring. It's just
Yeah, they're like the love of my life. I can't be stopped.
so. How do you pick which brands to work with? Because you're working with like um, uh, Anthropology, you're working with Target.
Some of the brands that we're working with right now are like Vera Bradley, the Paper Store, Adriana Papel. We've done things with like Aveeno, Neutrogena.
You have the dry shampoo.
Yes, Batiste.
Yeah, Batiste for a while.
Yeah.
I like that editorial. Where you guys were in like pink and blue, and then you had the matching bottle.
Yes.
Chef
I mean, I think for anybody who, whether they're an influencer or like an aspiring influencer, an easy way to just like figure out brands you would want to work with are just going about your regular day and thinking from waking up to going to bed, like what are the products or clothes or anything like that you like, you gravitate towards, that you trust, that you find yourself buying over and over again. So like if I wake up and wash my face with Neutrogena, like hydro clear, like cleanser, then like maybe I should reach out to Neutrogena and say like, because then you can speak honestly about a brand that you already love. it's already surrounding you in your home. And you can really come from a personal side as you're talking about their products. Oftentimes, companies will approach us saying, oh, like we have these new t-shirts we want you to promote, or, we're coming out with a new line of, I don't know, socks, and we think you would be a great, influencer to promote. First thing we do is always like check out their website. We always look for quality.
Yeah.
It'd be so easy to say yes to everything just to earn a quick buck. But I don't think that's how you grow a like trusting audience. And because they're looking for you as an influencer, people look to you for your insight, and they're looking to you for your opinion and for you to kind of be a step ahead of them so they know what to look for next in terms of products or for gifts or whatever for themselves. And so, we have like Vera Bradley has been a dream to work with because that was my first purse I ever owned. That's kind of like what got me into, like, I remember being in middle school and buying this purse and feeling so cool. And it's a company that we've grown up with. So when they reached out to us to start working with them, we're like, we are already Vera Bradley girls through and through, and I think for those larger companies, oftentimes, they have the resources to also, invest in really great causes. Like I had been chatting with you, Rachel, about how Vera Bradley has their own like breast cancer research foundation, which really resonates with Sarah and I because our mom went through breast cancer treatment when we were in high school. And the paper store who we just started working with this summer, they have a line that they support like animal rescue. And so I think looking for companies like that who aren't necessarily just looking out for themselves, but are also have sort of like a bigger picture in mind, because if you are a mega corporation or a larger company, they do have the resources to help people. And, even though Sarah and I, our business has grown a lot, I wouldn't say we are like a huge company. But even in the small ways that we look for, we love like working with local businesses and local, like, oftentimes someone, who says, oh, I just started my earring company. I'd love to like send you guys something. Can you feature us? We're like, absolutely. Because, people gave us that sort of love when we first started, and we want to, pay it forward and also like put that love back into the community as opposed to just like looking for a quick buck.
Absolutely. That's so great. So as someone who's recently started, I keep getting these DMs on Instagram with people being like, hey, we'll give you 50% off if you feature something and if you buy it. And it seems a little sketch. Was that basically your experience when you first started, or do they still contact you?
I mean, daily we get DMs from companies saying, either we'll give you this free product. All you have to do is do this for us, or pay like $50 and we'll give you free likes or things like that. Which is crazy, but I mean, because Instagram is such a huge platform for, advertising. It's basically like marketing on television. Like they have commercials, and so these companies are looking for ways to earn money because they know people want to be seen. And, we've never taken part in anything like that because from the beginning we agreed that we'd rather not have as many followers and just be like more legitimate, because at the end of the day, if we had 10,000 followers, but they weren't actually people, what we were saying wouldn't mean anything, It doesn't matter what the number is, because if your whole point is to, have a business, but to also make a difference and have an audience and have people who care, who you can help and you have a relationship with, it's not going to happen if they're bots.
So as an influencer, how do you feel like you need to be a good influence on your followers? And if so, how would you do that?
I think that's a really good question, especially right now with, the election and recently, especially with like Black Lives Matter. We received a lot of like kickback during some of those things from posting about something that we believed in and people saying we weren't doing it in the right way, or saying like that's not how I personally would like promote Black Lives Matter or promote the election or things like that. And I think at the end of the day, we all have our own opinions, and I think you have a following as who you are as an individual because people often share your same opinions. And so you being honest, like during Black Lives Matter, and the riots and things like that, Sarah and I gave a certain percentage of our commission towards NAACP. And we had a lot of DMs about how we should be doing it towards a different foundation, or a different, or like, oh, you should do this instead, or you should have posted this instead. And I think everyone's just doing the best they can. And I think at the end of the day, as long as we feel like, we are one, educating our followers, but also being true to ourselves, I think that's like the biggest goal we could have.
Yeah, I think that was one of the hardest things to realize as someone who consistently posts on social media and have people that you don't know basically commenting and having opinions about what you have to say.
And they're so happy to share it too.
Yeah, it's like everyone's going to have opinions. And if you have a platform, a lot of people are going to disagree with you, and a lot of people aren't going to know where your heart is. And I mean, we all make mistakes, especially in 2020 when we're all in this crazy vacuum time and
Absolutely.
we're trying to help, and maybe we try to help in a way that, hurts people's feelings. We all make mistakes, and the difference is just learning from it, and then learning what is constructive and learning what not to take away from it.
Yeah, and I think also to learn when to admit that you don't know everything.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like we had to take some time to admit that, like, I will never know what it feels like to be someone who has less privilege than me as a white straight female. Or admitting, no, I didn't know what this certain foundation did, but like now I do, and I'm going to tell you about it. I think, as an influencer, we're not like superhumans. We are, at the end of the day, people who really need their coffee in the morning, wine at night, who are learning as we go along, and it's just being able to admit, I think, when you're wrong, or when you, have had to learn something. I think that's also really important.
I think people forget that people on the internet are actually people. And I found, because I've been consuming so much social media, more than I've ever had in my life, that a lot of people don't realize that they're not posting into a vacuum, that they're just putting out stuff and it literally is going to have effect on people. I think a lot of people don't realize that. And I mean, I think as long as you're being mindful, which you are, Sarah is, I'm trying to be, I think that's the goal. But no one's perfect, and it's challenging,
It is.
because you're dealing with all these people you don't know, and everyone has like, not everyone's gonna enjoy the Rachel Segment show. I do, but
I do.
you know, and I enjoy the Lane show. So people say fashion is frivolous. How can we use fashion to make positive change?
I mean, I think that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, that like maybe buying in excess. Fashion could be seen as like I think the US, especially towards fast fashion, of like,
Mhm.
I have to buy, you know, 10 new sweaters this season, otherwise like I'm doomed in society. It's not true. But I think, it is 100% the truth that the way you present yourself, whether at your job or to your friends or to your family or just to yourself, like outwardly, your expression of yourself affects your mood and how you're feeling on the inside. Like, I know some days I just want to be cozy and I wear my PJs pretty much all day. But then, after a day or two of being like that, I'm like, I kind of want to get myself put together. I kind of want to, um, I want to feel good about myself. I want to feel proud of myself. And I think a way of doing that is having, it can be just a few pieces that you feel great in, you look good and they fit you well. And how you feel in those pieces radiates to other people, and that's how they see you as well. And I don't think there's really nothing frivolous about that.
And then you could feel good enough to go out and make that positive change and donate to good causes and,
Yeah.
be a beacon of hope and light unto other people.
And there's so many
And
companies right now that are like sustainable clothing, and especially if that's something that really resonates with you, about maybe vegan clothing or animal safe products, or no animal testing, um, or things like that are better for the environment. Like, that is also something you can invest in, and you can feel proud of the purchases that you're making.
yeah, I tend to like to wear consignment clothing. Like, this is consignment. Also, I feel super great and happy in this, but it feels like I'm wearing pajamas. So
Yeah.
Once you find a piece like that, I can go and I can do a bunch. Like, I did an interview this morning. I taught today. I shot for Instagram, and now I'm talking to you. And I still feel like, I don't know, I could sleep in this probably.
Yeah, I mean, being comfortable, feeling good, and feeling like you're expressing your personality and what you're wearing and how you're, presenting yourself outwardly, I think is really important to your morale, especially in your ups and downs of the day.
Especially now.
Especially now. Oh my gosh, yes.
Because, I mean, I remember talking to you in rehearsals being like, how do you be an influencer? And I didn't know that my Instagram was going to be like my window out into the world for the past 8 months. And I don't know, my way to say things. So thank you for getting me started on that, like at the most opportune time of
I'm
all
glad
time.
you took it and ran with it.
Yeah, it's been really fun. It's hard though. I can't believe how high quality your stuff is and how often you post.
Well,
And
I will tell you a secret that Sarah and I, since we don't live in the same states, we do what's called batching our content. So we get together once a month, sometimes twice if we have like a big campaign, and we plan out the entire month in advance. And we say we need this many outfits. We are doing these campaigns. These are my creative ideas. We have a mood board for the poses we want, the locations we want, the colors we want. And so then when we are together, we just execute, bam, bam, bam. We have all like everything so detailed in our minds. So then for the rest of the month, we have all of that content already, and we can just say, oh, on Tuesday, I want to use this. Thursday, I want to use this.
but that's like so much work. Like how, okay, so when you get together once a month, how long are you together?
We usually are together, like we did this last weekend for November, because we're usually working like a month in advance. And we did how many pictures did we take? Well, I was with her Saturday and Sunday. We really only took pictures on Sunday because my friend was in town. And we took like 12 pictures. Usually if we're together for a weekend, we'll try and do 25.
That's still.
So it's like 2 to 3 pictures an hour. That's like driving to different locations, prepping our clothes, having them in the car with us, having our like written out notebook of location, pose, like theme. But then it is like 2 days of nonstop work. But then that does help the, never ending work the rest of the time.
Yeah, I tried to do that with October, and then I don't know, I did like 6 days worth of posts. And then like I was
It's
like,
hard.
It's but also I'm me, and then like maybe I should just like focus on getting like 1 or 2 pictures instead of like 4. But it's Capricorn.
It's definitely like a balance. It's definitely a balance. And we have designated days during the week where we don't post, or designated days during the week when we post in the evening instead of the morning. So then we kind of rotate our schedule around that. Because we both have full-time jobs. Sarah teaches, I'm with the opera company, and then trying to balance this around it. You always have to look out for yourself first and your mental health. And I think that is crucial right now when we're all just sitting at home, like nonstop on our phones. It's easy to just stare into the void for forever and compare yourself and be like, why didn't I get 100 more likes? Like today sucked. But that's really not the truth of it all. Like, it's looking out for yourself, but then also, being proud of the things you have to say.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. It's so fun to spend time with you. I mean, like, we're 2 sopranos that were in a show together, and we did not fight. So
we were like,
yeah, so great. But it's so nice to just spend time with you, and I hope we can do more of this because I really miss you.
I miss you too. This was great. I'd love to come back on anytime.
Yeah, well, I might take you off on that. But yeah, so thank you so much for coming. And our next episode is in 2 weeks with my friend Matthew Mazzano, also known as Belena Canto. Matthew is a drag queen, and he is going to talk about how drag relates to opera, which it does a lot. Drag is very important in opera. So thank you so much for being here, and everyone stay safe, wear masks, and hope Fermata.
Have a great night.
Thank you for watching Fermata Fashion with Rachel Sigmund. Please follow our guests on their respective social medias. Our next broadcast will be
November 5th, 7:30 EST.
with special guest
Matthew Mazzano, also known as Belena Canto.
See you next time.